Here we go. What's up? Yes, you know we're here too, Virgo brothers, so you got no fear. Service to humanity, and that's the way it goes. Me and Cassius King bust the flow. It's the Virgo style, it's the Virgo way. Down with Ascension Institute, we'll drop it for you, okay. You know what we're going to see. This intuitive guide is really deep, B. He's a spiritual life coach and a GFL commander. Don't you understand? You know he will land the ship in the plane and break it all down, bridging the physical and spiritual with sound. Frequencies deep. Yes, you know it's true. Tonight on Knowledge is Love, we got something for you. The King, Cassius, and the Big E. What we're going to give you is real poetry, hip-hop flows, and spirituality. That's how it goes. That's how it be. Time for us to get it popping. Knowledge is love. The rhyme is just stopping.
Yes, sir. I was not
What's up?
expecting that. Big up, bro.
What's up, good people? It's Eric Taylor, Big E Astrology. Tonight on episode 348, I got my friend, my brother, King Cassius. He likes to go by Cash, Vincent Cassius Kane. He is a spiritual life coach, an intuitive guide, a GFL commander, and so much more. I present to you guys, Mr. King Cassius. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Blessed for having me on. That rhyme was it, man. And I'm so glad to be here. So glad to see everybody up in the chat too. Very excited for what we're about to do.
Yeah, listen, I first of all, we are brethren in many ways as Virgos, as brothers, but also we are members of the Ascension Institute with a bunch of amazing people, including Elle and Pira and so much more. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I want to know from you, that's an interesting title. I was asking about you before, but what is a GFL commander? And kind of explain your connections in the galactic.
So I remember when I was young, this was actually, I'm saying young like it wasn't just 5, 6 years ago. And that was when I first started really tapping into consciousness more. I always was like really sensitive to energy. And I had those upgrades, which I know we're about to talk about. And they were giving me this ability to feel the spirit realm. And I knew about it, but I didn't really know about it like that. And there was at one point where I started being in contact with what I called angels, and they were leading me to do these missions. They'd be like, go here, do these things. We need your help. And at that time, I'm just like, okay, like these angels are here to ask me to help out. And every time they would ask me to go somewhere or do something, it'd be exactly like how they say. They'd be like, this person needs help, go here, and they're going to be there. And I'd go there and they'd be there every time. So it got to the point where I was like, you know what? Who are y'all? Like, what is this thing? Because I know y'all, this is real, but I'm not going to do no more of these missions unless y'all tell me who you is. And then that's when I had this whole experience with the UFOs and extraterrestrials. And that's when they were like, you know, you're one of us on the ground, right? Like, you're just here on mission. Now you're ready to go. So I was like, wow, all this time I was calling y'all angels and y'all just extraterrestrials? And they're like,
What?
well, yep, all the angels and demons, all the stuff that humans call like that are just extraterrestrials. And that's when I started really training to get more of my power with this and started being more in contact with them. And then they let me know I was a commander. And I was like, what? Like, that's cool, but what is that? And they're basically it's sort of like a leadership role. And at some points I started getting in contact with a lot of different people that were sensitive to energy, and they started calling me commander. So I was like, ooh, this synchronicity is over and over. To the point where I was like, okay, I'll accept the title and I'll just take it.
Oh my God. So, okay. So as you're explaining this isn't happening in your dreams in the spiritual realm. Are you saying that like they were actually directing you to like go places like where you live in the physical?
Yes, it did start in my town, and I did a lot of work with kids, and I knew basically everybody in town. So they'd be like, you know, this little girl needs help over here. She sees spirits. At the beginning, I was like, okay, we're gonna see about that. So I go there, and the little girl's there, and then she comes to me and she's like, you know, and she's talking to me, and I'm like, do you see spirits? And she's like, how do you know? How do you know? I'm like, oh shoot. When that
Wow.
started happening, I was like, whoa, this is
Okay,
for
that's
real
that's next
now.
level, yo.
Yeah, it started to get a little creepy at some points because I'm like, okay, y'all are really like everything they say. They'll be like, go here, and I'll be like, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna be real. And it happened every single time to the point where I started working with them more intense, whether it was healing, whether it was to help someone with a dark entity, or whether it was to get people into their power, whatever it was. It was always like, we need your help. You're the agent on the ground. We need you to do this work and we'll just guide you to do it. I found that very fascinating from the jump.
That is so fascinating. And, it's kind of like apropos, right? Being a Virgo, we are always going to be of service to humanity. But I want to step back. Like, who was 10-year-old, King Cash? And could you have ever imagined the type of work that you're doing today?
Good question. Um, I would not. It was always a dream of like, if aliens are out there, I would work with them. I want to get to meet them. I was obsessed with astral projection too. So I was
Okay.
like, when I get astral project, I'm gonna go out there and be friends with all of them. I want to work for them. I kept saying that all the time. I was obsessed with mermaids. For
At
those
10
who know
years
me in
old?
person, you already know what's up. Yeah, I loved all of that stuff. And I was always really sensitive to energy too. I just didn't know what it was.
Okay.
So I always said in my head, if they feel good, I feel good. So I was always the cousin to like entertain and take care of everybody. And of course, you go through the journey of the people pleasing with that as well as an empath. But that was I heard the word empath for the first time in grade 9. And that's when I was struggling the most in town with stuff going on here.
Okay.
Very small town, not very diverse. And so I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that's when I graduated and COVID happened. I was like, okay, well, I can't. I was graduating, I was gonna go to college, and they were like, no, you can't apply for university. They're like, yes, you could come, but you can't yet wait a few more years because of COVID. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna study this empath and metaphysical stuff then.
Wow. Okay. So, hold on. I want to just share with the audience. We'll get to you guys in the chat in a little bit, and Vincent will get to your questions, right? But so I want to go here. You are the Virgo sun and the Virgo rising with a Pisces moon, right? You're Gen Z, so you're Pluto's and Sag in the fourth house, and so explain with the audience because this kind of lines up with your fourth house and Pluto and Sag. At age 13, you started to have seizures. Take us through that journey and then like how it started to change your life and bring on these gifts.
So first one was New Year's Day of 2017. And I used to have these, we used to call them panic attacks
Okay.
because it felt like that. I would just blood rushing, panicking, and this would happen at least once a month. And so I thought we thought it was panic attacks because that's what the doctor said. And there was a lot of racism in my town and I was alone. So I
Yeah.
was just thinking, okay, maybe it's that.
Okay.
And then it got to the point where I had that first seizure and it scared the hell out of everybody in my family.
Yeah.
And they kept coming. I would have that panic attack and then I'd have the seizure right after. And I'd always hear like people talking, and the seizures weren't like regular seizures.
Mm.
They weren't actually damaging my brain. There were people were starting to say actually like it looks like it's upgrading your brain because we hooked me up to all these machines for years trying to figure out what it was, and they're like, yeah, we can't explain, these things should be hurting you and you're awake during them. We don't This is not normal to our science. So
Whoa.
that's when I had to start going into the spiritual community. And then that's where I started divinely finding people, and they're like, this is what we call upgrades. And that's when I accepted them because every time I would have them, my it's like I would wake up in a whole new universe, or I'd be
Really?
more sensitive to energy. Every time I'd wake up after one, I'd be like, whoa, like how
How
come
long
I could
how
feel
long would they
more?
last for? Like duration of time? Like
I think it's up to like maybe a minute or two. I think somewhere like that, but I'm
so
not quite
like just
sure.
2 minutes straight seizing.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
And so that's when I had to start going to the gym too, because my muscles would be like the first one I couldn't move after. So I was like, I need to go to the gym and get my muscles like prepared for these things.
Oh wow.
And I had to get my mind ready because every time I'd be more sensitive and then I could hear the beings clearer. I would also project more. So I started realizing, I started almost getting a little excited for them, even though they were really painful and I was scared of them. Because I'm like, when I wake up from them, I'm going to be gifted a new ability or I'm going to see something new every time I know I'm going to have something more.
Wow. So are you, because I've heard you talk about mental telepathy, and do you have, as the people say, like all the clairs, clairsentient, clairaudient, like share people with the audience your gifts?
So my main one would be clear empathy. And I guess you could say claircognizant too,
Okay.
but the beings show me everything and I see things in my mind's eye, just like if if my eyes were open. So it's at this time where I would start to like I'd be around people and I could see their life. I could see things and people around them. I started creeping my friends out because they'd be like, wait, how do you know my friend that you didn't even meet? And how do you know she's like this and that? And then I'd be like, oh, I don't know how I know that. And so I started playing around with them. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna play around with this. So I'm like, I'm gonna do readings. So I started doing readings, and people would be like, "Yo, you're actually really creepy. Like, I don't know how it's like you have a camera in my life." And
Wow.
that's when I'm like, wow, I didn't know I was that good at it. So I
Okay.
started doing that more. And now I work with people around the world,
Yeah.
whether it's business owners or like in the industry or even just like regular people on the street. And I realized I was meant to be, and I'm meant to be the middle person between the physical and the spiritual. And I am very glad I could be that for humanity.
That's so awesome. And I
Thank you.
love how I guess in a way, did you feel like you had to accept this assignment and mission, or was it just natural for you? Because, that is the inclination, right? For us as Virgos, like we kind of love helping people anyway.
Right.
But
Mhm.
then like when you found these gifts and then you had to kind of define them, study, learn them, and integrate them, was that like, okay, wait a minute, I can turn this into a career and a business and my life? Like,
Yeah, so at the beginning, I was just a teenager trying to have fun
yeah.
and have fun with my friends, and then I remember grade 11 and 12, I started doing I called them assignments or missions,
Okay.
'cause I go to a party and the beings would be like, "Oh, you're gonna help somebody here, we need you to go at this time," and I'd just be like, "Okay, I'm on it." And to me, it was like a game, so I'm like, "Alright, let's go." I remember the one time I went to this party, and we're in a small town, and it's like a busher, it's like in the bush by these train tracks. Everybody's drinking beer. And I went out there and I'm like, all right, we gonna find this mission. I go out in the bush and then I felt this feeling of like someone's in trouble. And I remember I saw this it was like crumbs of energy leading me. So I'm like, okay, I told everybody, I'm like, okay, I'll be back in a minute. Go up to the train tracks and someone's crying and they're like sitting there. And the people that were there were like, I guess people that knew me for helping people. So they were like, Cash, like this guy needs you here.
Oh
And
wow.
I started talking to him and I was like, "Oh, so you know you're getting bullied and your mama isn't really happy about that." And he was like, remember he was crying, he like was like, "Whoa, like yeah, how do you know this?" And he told me at the end of the day, he was like, "It's like you were an angel sent down to help me."
Yeah.
And when he said that, it was like it opened up something in me. I was like, "Wait a second. Why do I have this too? What is this thing?" And that's when I started having this stuff with the ETs, and they had me. I remember I started becoming. I thought it was just like a spiritual warrior, but people now call it a shadow hunter, and that's what these runes are on me. It's like someone who fights dark entities, and they
Okay.
were like, "We need your help to fight like dark beings and stuff like that," especially when they would come and like try and hurt the children in the town. That actually
Okay.
scared me a little bit because they were telling me about reptilians and things like that. And I'm like, okay, we gonna see about that. And I would go, and I remember I had a lot of missions at the skate park.
Okay.
And this was at the beginning when they were like, we need your help to protect from reptilians. I'm like, okay, I'll just go. Y'all are always right. I'll go. I go there and I made these like shields around the skate park and I was looking out for these reptilians. Man, when I tell you these dark people started coming up to the skate park, and they couldn't even like pass the shield. Like wherever I put the shield, it's like the one guy stopped and it was like he looked at the ground and he started cussing and he ran off with his friend. and I had some people come and take pictures of me. It was like creepy stuff was happening.
Oh my God, yo.
And
That's
little kids would come to me and be like, wait, you're spiritual, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, there's a reptile man and he's attacking me and no one believes me. That's when I got scared because the beings already told me about this. So when the kids come to me,
right.
I was
And
like, oh my God.
are these kids like, because like you're Gen Z, are you talking about kids younger, like the Alpha generation, right? Because
So
they're coming in
then I was
so
like,
awakened, they could see this stuff, right?
yeah. So they were like, he keeps pushing me. This like invisible reptile man keeps pushing me down hills when I walk to school and stuff like that. And what's wild is the beings would always tell me, they'd be like, this kid, and they show me a vision of like, this white boy is going to need you soon. And the white boy would come up and I'm like, okay, I got you. So every time it was never, I could never ignore it
Right.
because I also felt this urge of like, this is what I was here to do. And battling these beings or helping heal people, it felt like I found a part of me that was missing, and that made
Mm.
everything click.
Okay, that's so powerful and deep. But I want to ask you this because this is fascinating. You have the Pisces moon in the seventh house, which is the other half. So you kind of being clair empathetic, right? Clair empathy, right? That makes sense because Pisces moon is all about intuitive and psychic, compassionate, empathetic, right?
Okay.
And and so how do you protect your energy? And have you ever experienced reptilians or dark forces trying to attack you?
Ooh. At the beginning, all the time. All
Mm,
the time. And it wasn't just spiritual. Sometimes they'd be physical. I
really?
had one time I was doing a lot of spirit work around town, and these people came to my door. That's why we had to get cameras in my house, because some people
Now
came to
you're in
my
Canada, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
So these people came to my house and they were telling me, they're like, you got to stop doing what you're doing. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, what you talking about? And they're like, you have to stop doing what you're doing. They wouldn't say, but like what you're doing. And you could
Wow.
see like the one guy, you could see his eyes change and his
Really?
energy. Like you could see clairvoyantly that he wasn't fully human. And I started getting these people physically that would do stuff like that or watch me. And then spiritually, I'd be in the astral realm and I would get attacks. And that's when I was like, all right, it's time to fight because I'm getting attacked. So I just go to the astral realm and I became like a bounty hunter. I was like, I'm gonna just go hunt them. And then I would go around town and some of the kids would be like, hey, I had a dream about you where you were protecting me from this shadow man that always attacks me at night. And I'm just like, I got you, right? I just wink, I got you. So it got to a point where I'm going around town doing this in the physical and the spiritual. And that was kind of me playing around with them. Like, oh, I'm just fighting dark aliens. And then when I started maturing more, I was like, okay, wait, this is a little more serious than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's not a game.
Right. I feel like there was a lot of moments, especially with the dark entities attacking me, that actually showed me who I was. Because when I would
Mm,
ask them, I'm like, why you keep attacking me? And it's like they always knew who I was before I knew who I was. So
that's
then
deep.
from there, I'm like, you know what? Let's step into it. Anytime they attack me, I would just get stronger and I would start going to mothership at night and getting help from positive ETs. Sometimes I just go to other planets and they'd be like, what's good, Cash? And I'm like, wait, you know me? And they're like, yeah, we watch you on Earth. We see what you're
Wait.
doing.
When you say that,
And
I want
and
to
we
know.
know your soul. Like you helped us out
Astrology. I want to know
before.
what planets you go to.
I've been to Mars before. There's a lot going on over there. I've also been to many places outside the solar system. Man, I could name infinite amounts. Orion's got so many of these like There's the planets that are like cities, that are like totally cities, and a lot of astral travelers go there. You know what? There was actually a place on the planet that I went to,
Mhm.
and there's like inner Earth. I wanted to figure out what the truth was because I'm like, everybody says the Earth is flat or is whatever, whatever. So I'm
Right.
like, what is it then? Go off a planet. I'm like, that's a sphere. Yeah, that's a damn sphere. But there is places inside the earth that people live. I found that really, really fascinating.
Right. So
So
like Agartha, Inner Earth, like that, right?
yeah.
Yep.
So I just wanted to figure out what the truth was for everything. I even went to the moon. And at the beginning, I was actually prevented from going to the moon. They're like, nope, you can't go. I'd try and go into black holes. They're like, nope, you gotta train first. So I'm like, what do you
Okay.
mean train? That's when I started going to astral schools, and I started learning from like alien teachers. Like I'd go to these schools. I feel like I'm there for days, but I'm really only sleeping one night. And they would teach me about how to fight dark energies. They would teach me metaphysics and science. And I would just take that here with me. And I just
Oh
do
my
that
God.
here.
That's incredible, man.
I can't wait for more people to know about this because I
Well,
remember this is actually a
let's
year
let's
ago.
go to the chat because I got
Okay,
a ton more questions, but let's go to the chat, see who's here.
sure.
Let's say hello to some of the people because they may have questions for you too.
Let's do it. James said, "Hey, it's King Cash. He made a video saying the aliens are getting revealed 2027." What I can say, because I talk a little too much, what I can say is 2027 is going to be year of ET stuff for sure. Now you're going to witness some disclosure happen. It's already happening. Like alien
Yeah,
stuff
it's
is all over
already
the
happened. Yeah.
place. So it's already happening. But by 27, there's going to be a lot more ET understanding because 27 is also the end of the Earth's cycle. There's like a
Yes.
cycle of Earth that's ending. Even
Because
the government's like it's ending.
you do know, like, so that also lines up with the human design prophecy, right? Where we kind of the solar plexus, the transition from the solar plexus being like healed and complete, and then the collective vibrating from the heart chakra, right? That's
Mhm.
sort of the human design prophecy. So that kind of lines up with that in terms of the revelation truly of the aliens. And it makes me laugh because I'll tell you something, Cash, like back in like 97, 98, I wrote a play that I was trying to like do as like a movie. And I wrote it where 6 men and 6 women they had to like kind of like start the world all over again. And they were literally like trapped in a home where I live now, like in Arizona. I was, lived in New York, so had no thoughts of ever living in Arizona. And it was 2027. And they found themselves in a position where they had to build the world all over again.
You knew, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. And that's what I'm saying. These downloads. So when you talk about the downloads, it makes sense to me that you have Uranus and Neptune and Aquarius in the sixth house. And so scientifically, the doctors couldn't explain the seizures, but I can see that in the chart with the Uranus and Aquarius. Was it just like all of a sudden? And how did your parents adapt to it? And does all of your family really know all your gifts, or do you kind of like share it with them slow? Like, explain that relationship.
Yeah. At the point we started accepting them as upgrades or
Yeah.
downloads was 2022, I think, around there. We had to definitely evolve more spiritually to understand. At one point, we were like, I gotta accept these seizures because they was happening like every month on clockwork. So I
Anyone else in the
realized
family? Anyone else experienced anything like this?
nobody
Mom?
else.
Okay.
So I had to accept it. And then I remember some people would just come to me, like friends and family would be like, yo, every time you have these seizures, it's like you mature like a lot more every single time. And I was like, okay, to hear that external, like someone externally say that, give you perspective. I was like, okay, because I feel that within myself. Most of my family is not into any of this stuff. They just know that I'm on YouTube and stuff like that. And I guess I just have a respect from them. But
Okay.
yeah.
That's fascinating. All right, let's go back to the chat because that was a good question, and I'm sure there's more people and stuff.
Okay, let's see what's good. So, I'm seeing someone here say, it be them downloads at work. Like I was like, wait, these people are affecting my ability to manifest things for myself. I could go see deep on this topic. What's interesting is getting downloads is something that we all get in some form. And
Yes.
you'll notice that there'll be times when you get an influx of downloaded codes and insight, and it comes in like heavily real quick. And a lot of people, I started meeting people who actually have the same that have upgrades like me. They may not seize, but they have upgrades where they get that influx of information and then they pass out, or they get like really sick and they need to take a break. So I've noticed then when I start talking to other shamans, they're like, oh yeah, this is a thing. They may not, there's some are stronger than others, but
Right.
these are upgrades. So when I get small downloads like most people get, yeah, it won't feel as strong as that. but then it's like my body needs a reboot. It needs an upgrade, and then I get a whole lot, and then I just get rebooted like a computer.
Wow. See, that's so fascinating. And the fact that it's just you, nowhere else in the lineage. And, and sometimes, that type of stuff makes me wonder, like, could there have been like a grandma or great grandma that maybe no one of your immediate family could be aware of
Mm.
that, could be sort of tapped in spiritually like you? Those are the things that like my brain is like, and then of course, astrologically, I tap into it. So do you tend to see people's ancestors or loved ones that have passed away? Can you see that as well? Do the mediumship work?
Yeah, so I realize I'm kind of a mix of everything. It's like I kind of I could speak to people that passed away, ancestors, ETs. I could feel past, present, and future stuff. Like a lot of times, beings will like their guides will come and be like, "Please tell them that this is gonna happen soon," and it always does. But it's not like I'm a like a fortune teller. It's just
Right.
like a this is gonna happen in the energy soon, and they need to know about this. So I started studying it and I realized it's kind of like I can't even like say, oh, it's just this or it's just that. It's kind of
Right.
like a mix of everything.
That's powerful. So I want to find out from you. Um, you have done different events, right? And do I guess fairs and bazaars or like these different trips. I know you were on. I forgot the name of it. You have to tell me the name, but you were with two people that I've had on my podcast, Debbie Solaris and Metaphysical Ash, right?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yep,
was
from
that?
the cruise.
Yeah, the cruise. Yes, tell us about that and what type of reading or offering were you sharing with the collective there?
That was an amazing experience. I got to network with all these people in this community and very, very highly respected and notable people that some many of them I used to watch and they helped me understand what I was going through. So I was like, all right, like I get to meet them in person, big respect.
Yeah.
And that's when I was doing, I call them divinations, but they're readings I
Okay.
was doing there. So I got to show what I could do. And from there, it felt awesome to be able to show people what I could do, especially
Right.
in that type of way. And then that's when I started getting good friends with like um uh why am I blanking on a name right now? But I used to a bunch of
Well,
them I started
Ashley, or
Ashley, yep, I connected with Ashley, love her,
did you
Alan
get to meet my buddy who's
Steinfeld.
been on the show too, Vivian Chauvet?
Okay, yeah. And I also had Alan Steinfeld. I consider him like a brother now. So we sometimes I'll go to like the Phoenix and stuff and I'll see him. But yeah, I can't wait to see him again. But yeah, that's my homeboy.
Okay. Okay. I'm not too familiar with him, but if you're coming to Phoenix, then I'm right down the road. You got to come, come hang
I
out with
love
me in
that.
astrology. Yeah, yeah. So now I want to tap in because when you go through this, do you feel like it's almost having, what I had, the NDE?
So the question is it like NDE?
Well, yeah, in the sense like
Mhm.
so, as a lot of people will say, like when you have a near-death experience, right? You definitely it's an initiation, you have these upgrades. And for
Yes.
me, a lot of that has been through my intuition, but it's also been through improvement in my vision, which is not supposed to happen, my hearing. And then now when I do birth chart readings with clients, I'll get like visions and downloads of like
Mhm.
their life kind of described by an astrological placement, let's say like Venus and Cancer in the fifth house, or
Right.
you're celebrating your Jupiter return. Congrats today. Jupiter is back in Cancer, and that's your natal placement, right? So, like, for example, like I'll just get like a flash. And so a lot of people say that it takes about 7 years after a near death experience for all of your gifts to kind
Oh.
of upload and integrate. And so I've been coming up on my 4th year anniversary this September.
Mhm.
And so I just wondered with you, with the seizures, even though they're not like, so long. I mean, I was in coma for 40 days, but do you consider it in terms of what you're noticing in the spiritual realm that it's sort of is similar to like what you've heard from Elle and me and our stories, like a near death experience?
For sure. I didn't consider them like that until, like, for example, when I went on the cruise and I talked to Abby, or not Abby, Debbie, I think her last name is
So Larry?
DeChinger.
Oh, Debbie
Um,
Dashinger. Okay, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And me and her, she says she's my mama. I love it. She's watching. Shout out to you, mama. And she was, I remember, um this was during her event, and she was talking about how all shamans go through a near death experience. And then she was like, just like Cash has seizures every month, and that's a near death experience. That's what shamans go through. And when she called me out like that, I was like, well, I didn't look at it like that until then, but they
Yeah.
are extremely painful and they are really scary to me still.
Okay.
So I would, now that I have that kind of perspective like that, I definitely would consider them NDEs.
Wow. Yeah, it's I tell people the other side, it's a whole different realm, and different dimensions, and
You know it.
I wonder if you feel the same way. I kind of explain to people there is no death and there's nothing to fear. What are your thoughts on sort of the afterlife?
That's a Tuesday. Yeah, like is there's no death. Like really, it's like you die and you're just going to the next realm, right? So to me, there's like just the thought that people are scared of death. I know people are different, but like in my head, I'm like, wait, people can be scared of dying. Like I kind of forget about that because yeah, it's nothing to me now.
Yeah. No, I love that you said it like that because it's so funny. It's hard, I guess, sometimes for me. And it's nice, like being in communities or groups like we have in the Ascension Institute, to be around other healers and light workers. So, we can have and people can exchange in these conversations because, it's kind of hard to relate to people, I mean, for me, like
Mhm.
people wrote me off. They literally thought I was dead, right? 40 days in coma, people are like, "Pfft, bye." You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but
Wow.
obviously my wife and my kids and some of my friends never gave up. But like you, I can say for myself, I didn't always have the words to try to explain to people what I saw, what I experienced. I could just say it, but it may not make sense. And what do you think about the kind of like, you mentioned the astral projection? But for me, and I want your thoughts on this, like I astral traveled from coma to my home and saw one of my 11-year-old sons. At the time he was 8, one of my twin sons. And so how do you explain those type of things coming from or being able to do that? Like what was my soul able to, like how was my soul able to maneuver? I guess would be the question in terms of doing that from coma to my home.
So I always say that you are like a Russian doll. And I say it like this, a Russian damn doll, because you really is like you layers. So this physical vessel, like when I go in the astral realm, I just go to sleep and then I hop right in the astral realm. And as long as my body is dormant, I'm outside my body. And I always kind of like I have an astral watch and I like to track when it's time to go back to my body. It's like I
Mm.
know when it's time and I'll tell people, okay, I gotta go back to my body and then hop back. But it's like when my body is dormant, then my spirit then is free to travel. It's like the spirit is like the real world. So I'm like
Yeah.
hopping out the video game, doing what I
Yeah.
gotta
Out
do.
of the matrix, right?
Yeah,
It's like
just
the
like that.
dream time is like when we're awake.
Yeah, for real, yeah. It's literally the real world, the spirit. So I go out there, I'll be socializing with like ET family, and I'll be hitting up my homies like, "What's good? Okay, let's do our mission." And then I'll be like, "Oh shoot, okay, I got to go back to the physical suit. I'll see y'all a little bit." Beep beep beep, and then my alarm goes off. So what I remember
Wow,
when that started happening, I'm like, "Wow, my astral self knows when it's time." And so
that's deep.
I always just say, yeah, you're layers. So you have like that physical, astral, emotional, mental, etheric. Like you have all those different levels of you that are in us, and that is what is part of the experiment. Is to see, okay, these people don't know much. They come to Earth and they forget who they are. It's part of the
Yes.
experiment, and then they have to remember. And then when they realize they have all these layers to them as humans, which are incredibly powerful, what are they going to do with it? How are they going to maneuver? Being human to a lot of beings is like a gift. It's incredibly cool. You'll get a lot of beings who you pull up on and they're like, yo, what is it like to be a human? Or what does like hot dogs taste like? Like they ask you something, you're like, it's just a hot dog. But to them, it's like the coolest thing ever. They're like, we watch humans eat hot dogs. So I say, yeah, it's just layers to you.
Wow. That's a all right. Let's go back to the chat. I know after all the stuff you're saying, people probably got crazy questions.
Yeah. Yo, I'm seeing some of the family in here. What's up, Sun and Mimi? I see y'all. Hey.
All right.
Okay, someone said here, did your doctors ever tell you that your seizures were fake? I work at a hospital and see people have seizures, but the doctors will say it's fake sometimes. I think it's insulting to say. I
Yeah.
definitely would say as well. And they didn't say it was fake, but they were just like, we can't explain how these work. And they hooked me up to so many machines, and they're like, there's nothing we could say, okay, maybe this is it or that is it. This is beyond I, I want to say it's metaphysical because they're like this isn't something that we have understanding of. And someone else said right here real quick. So did the seizures stop eventually? I still have them now, but I have been told that they will come to a conclusion
Mm.
soon. My spirit team always said they're going to end as they began. So it's like they're gonna end in sort of like a way where it's like instead I'm just kind of like that panic attack. I manage them now where I'm just like, okay, well, like I just sit down for a second and I process it. Sometimes they spread out. Like I won't have them for a month. I'll have one after like 3 or 4 months. So it's like
Okay.
my spirit guide saying, look, we could
So
stretch
they're
them
weaning
out.
down a bit. You've noticed.
Definitely weaning down, but yes, yeah.
Okay. So are there just ever any regular dreams? Like, I mean, because you say you go every night, you kind of go to the astral realm, right? Like, I know sometimes as I close my eyes at night, I'll see like words and numbers floating and I'll see faces.
Okay.
And I have Uranus and Libra in the 12th house, right? I'm a Scorpio rising. And that Uranus, I dreamt about my wife before I met her. I
Mhm.
dreamt about 9/11 2 years before it happened. So I've always been able, like, when I would work with people and I'm doing their charts, I would get downloads while I'm sleeping at night and I'd visually like see their chart like in the sky. But like
Cool.
now, yeah, no, it was really cool. But now, since I kind of came back after being on the other side, right, and that real initiation, it's like it's even deeper, but it's a different perspective. But the Uranus is innovative and futuristic, right? It's connected
Mhm.
to Aquarius. And so seeing those visions in the future have always been kind of wild for me because, especially like what you were saying, they would manifest and come true. So do you ever just have like, I guess, quote unquote, like just regular dreams where like maybe you were like, oh, I'm going to New York or Boston or just seeing like a relative or something and it's like not an astral plane? Does that make sense?
I'm looking at my astral travelers in here. Y'all know what I'm gonna say. Nah, not really anymore. At this point, it's kind of boring just to have a regular dream
Okay.
because
That's fair.
being out of body is like I get to go home. I get to help
Yes.
play a part in the astral war. I know a lot of astral travelers who there's like for example Ryan Cropper. He's like he I used to watch him all the time when I was first getting into astral projection when I was younger.
Okay.
And recently I was told that he doesn't astral project anymore because of the war going on in the astral realm. And a
Mm,
lot of astral travelers that I used to watch before are like, yeah, I don't astral travel because of all the war going on in the astral realm right now.
okay.
And it's like it felt like they handed the baton to people like me because me, I'm like, all right, what's good, right? Let me load up the Glock. Like I'm ready to go out there.
I know
And
that's
I have
right.
all my friends in here as well. I see y'all. We actually astral travel together and we go out there and we play a role in the astral war together. And we all are like, I love how we connect and we always see this, we're always doing the same things. Or if I don't remember something, then they remember a piece and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that explains that. When I found those people that astral travel with me, I was like, regular dreams I would use if I want to maybe build something. So I'm
Okay.
like, you know what? I want to build my course first in my dream state,
Yes.
or I want to have a visitation. So I'll hop in a dream and I'll be in like a field maybe, and then my aunt or someone will come and then we'll have a conversation. So for me, I'm like, dreams are now, we always call it, y'all know, we call it online and offline travel.
Okay.
So
Okay.
being in a dream is like going offline. It's like if you want to play Minecraft offline, you're like, yeah, I just want to do my own thing. And then when you go online, you go out of body. It's like, all right, I'm hooking up to the internet. I want to see some other people. Yeah.
I love that. So, anyway, do you where do you think we're at here on Gaia Mother Earth in our ascension? And do you teach people how to do the right like spiritual work so that they can kind of like get into the fifth dimension? Like, explain that.
Yes. So I do have a Discord server in which we talk about all this stuff Tuesdays and Thursdays. If y'all check out my Instagram, click link in my bio, you'll see everything there.
Okay.
And we
Oh, and
do the
tell them, I mean, I have it in the description, link down below, but just tell them real quick what is your Instagram and how they can reach you.
awesome. It is I'm King Cash, just like that. So y'all can find me there.
Okay.
And we so far we have those classes every Tuesday and Thursdays.
Right.
And we also have many people in there are my team and my soul family. So they also host classes in there for different things.
Right.
I am in the process of making a course in which I could just fully teach about everything in depth.
Yes.
And right now I am working on different, like getting my room and house ready for to do that, actually get space ready.
Okay.
Very excited for that. But so far we talk about this on Instagram and YouTube a bit. And on my YouTube, I'm starting to film more astral vlogs where every day I'm talking about what I'm doing and where I'm going. And I know y'all like that. So I know y'all hype. I'm hyped for that too. But yeah, that's what we got so far.
I love that, man. So now, what do you think is going on with, people talk about the White Hats, the Galactic Federation, talking about, trying to stop the reptilians and the archons and the dark entities on this planet from like taking over, or maybe they've already taken over for years, right? Our government and things like that. Where are we in these sort of alien battles and spiritual battles in terms of how it's affecting here on Earth and like America, Canada, stuff like that, in terms of like, the one percenters or the, secret societies trying to manipulate humanity?
We are in the shift, as you guys know, from 3D to 5D Earth.
Yeah.
But how does that work on the physical scale? People are going to now command the truth. So we are
Hmm.
getting ready for the civil war that's building up and getting ready to happen. So there's going to be a time when people are like, enough is enough. And
Yeah.
people are now rising up and saying, all right, where put out the list. Tell us what's been happening behind the scene.
Yeah.
What is going on? There's going to be a time when the people command and are forcing the truth to come out. And then it's either going to be they come out and are like, okay, here's it all, and then it's people got to figure it out with the chaos, or it's gonna be, oh my god, hey, y'all are asking too many questions. Let's just throw something on y'all that'll blow y'all's mind and distract you. Aliens are real, and then everybody's gonna go, and then from there things are
Exactly.
gonna kick off. So you can't stop the spiritual awakening. People are questioning right away. People are in 40 mentality. They're like, wait a second, why are we doing this? Why are they acting like that? People are questioning,
Yes.
and the people on top are just saying, "Shut up and keep doing what you're doing."
Well,
And then
that's
the
what
people
they
are
do,
talking that
right? They
too.
always try to distract us. And that's why I tell people don't get caught up in like, oh, Trump Elon breakup distraction, Diddy trial distraction, all this stuff, right? We've got to also, and this is what I've been telling my audience, and I want to get your insights on this. We have got to do the work. I've been telling everybody, become the president and leader of your own life. Vibrate from your heart chakra, be your true authentic self, and
Mhm.
have your spiritual discipline and practice. So share your thoughts on that, and also what is your spiritual practice?
I definitely think all of you guys should be going inside of yourself now. Now, look, I like to watch what's going on too. I'm not sitting there watching the Diddy trial, but I'm curious as to this movie that's going on because it's literally like a damn movie. And
Yes.
to me, it's fun because I'm like with the ETs. I'm sitting there with my popcorn, like I'm building up my life. Like all the stars are getting ready, so the power's shifting. We're gaining in power. We're rising up, and then the power is being lost. People call it like a wealth transfer, and so that's what's happening right now. So it's almost at the point where it's going to be almost like equal power, and then it's gonna be going like this. So right now it's building up, and we're doing that. And I like to watch. I'm like, wow, like I never would have thought everything that's happening would look like this, but you
Mhm.
can't get caught up. You just watch it like, wow, that's interesting because you can see where it's going.
Yeah.
I don't even need to watch movies no more. I'm like, I could just watch that and see what they doing. And I definitely think that all of you should be working on mastering now your inner world. So if
Yes.
you could do that, then you're gonna notice all of a sudden you're dreaming or astral traveling more. All of a sudden you are starting to realize, wait, I always had this ability or this sensitivity. All of a sudden you're finding out parts of you. It doesn't have to be spiritual, emotional, mental parts of you that were pushed down, shadow work. All of a sudden you're doing stuff like that, and then you're going further in your darkness to go further into your light. These are
Yes.
things that we all need to be doing at this time, and everybody's almost kind of naturally doing it. You know, many people are saying they're waking up and they're questioning, and people like us are like, yeah, we've been saying that. Y'all don't
Yeah.
call us crazy,
I know.
so it's happening.
It is. But can I ask you this? And maybe you see this in the spiritual realm, right, or in the galactic. Do you feel, right, that people talk about, right, the NPC? There are some souls that have chosen to kind of ignore it and to stay in the matrix and the cognitive dissonance and not awaken in this lifetime.
It's annoying. I even see what hurts my heart is to see star seeds
Mm,
who because it's like it's literally like this. It's like being in a video game
right.
and you realize, okay, we in a video game. You got some people around you who know, okay, this is a video game. Let's do what we got to do. We're in here for our mission.
Right.
And then you see some other star seeds and you're like, oh my God, you're my brother from Orion. And you
Right.
hear what's good. And they aren't about that. Or if they are, they're very dark about it. They're like,
Mm,
they don't want to be a part of the angels and the light. They want to work with vampires. They want to work with lower
okay.
vibrational entities. And it's sad to see them trapped in that system and that ego way.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's not much I could do. I could be there for them. I could do what I got to do, but there's nothing much I could do. It's like seeing your brother walking off a cliff and being like I'm gonna keep walking, and you're like, bro, you don't see that cliff right there, and they're like, yeah, I see it, and they keep going. It's like, all right, you got to let them drop off, and then what's interesting is after once everything is out, everybody's gonna wake up, especially these star seeds that aren't awake yet. They're gonna be like, oh my God, like I am them or I'm related to them.
Right.
Many, it kind of hurts because I could feel some of their pain of like, shoot, I messed up. I always said I'd be part of the angels, but I was against the angels. Then they go through that process. So it's almost kind of sad. But
Yeah.
the computer type ones, I'm gonna tell y'all this story real quick.
Yeah.
There was this one person who was a star seed, and his his mind was starting to open, his third eye was starting to open, and I was there for them. And at one point he kept seeing angels and high vibrational entities, and he thought he was going crazy. But every time I was there, I was letting him know, you good, right? Like I'd be like, yep, you're seeing this, and he's like, yep, you always know. I don't know how you know, but you always know. I'm like, because they're telling me, and so you're good. But he kept saying, I'm going crazy. I think I'm gonna go to the doctor, the psych ward, da da da. He's about to go. So the ETs looked at me like this, and they're like, we gotta close this third eye. And so I went to
Whoa.
dinner with him, and I'm like, we're gonna close your third eye now because this is too much. And it was sad to see,
So he
but
couldn't
right then we started, and
he
I saw
couldn't
him.
handle it, and then it was making him to go get like medicine and dim his own light that way, right?
Right.
Wow. That's
Right.
heavy.
So then I was like, okay, the ETs came to me and they're like, we just gotta close the third eye. So I literally just I was like, okay, I went like this. I'm like, we're gonna close the third eye. And I said, your guys are gonna close it over the course of 3 days. I saw him a week later and we hung out, and it was like he was a robot. I was looking at him, I'm like, hello? Like,
Oh,
are you
wow.
there? But it's like he had a lack of awareness of the world. And that's when I
Mm,
was like, okay, I can't even be around this person now. That was a moment, that was just last year. That kind of opened my mind to um people call them bots or people
yeah.
that are really asleep. To see
The
someone their
NPCs,
eyes
yeah, yeah.
open and then have to close their eyes, that was a
That's
lot.
heavy. Wow. Whew,
Hmm.
that's really heavy. All right, so let's take some more questions in the chat because I know people have some great questions for you, man.
Wow, I never thought about that before. I didn't even think it was possible. Someone else said,
What?
the elites say 2030 is the year that will that will fully integrate their plans for Earth? Any insights? Are they waiting for specific planetary alignments that year? Now, I'm curious what my homeboy Eric has to say about that as well. But what I will say is they they know that their time would be up at a certain time. They knew about this
Yeah.
and they decided to just keep living. Now, of course, they're ignoring the divine. Divine said, look, you're gonna have a time limit. And they're just like, yep, we know, whatever, they do whatever.
But they're so
People
arrogant
selling
and
their soul,
they can't hold this frequency of new earth, right?
they can't. So what's gonna happen is they're like, oh, we got these plans, we're gonna do this and that, but their plans are dying, and they're like, oh shoot, just the stuff, for example, Diddy trial and all that stuff coming out, it's just showing the truth coming out, and then now they're all like this. They're biting their nails, they silent because they're like, oh shoot, we knew our time would be up, but we didn't know it would be like this, like right now.
Yeah.
So now you see some of them are fighting to get people to look at them happily and things like that. But it's over. So we're in the downfall at this time. By
Yeah.
2030, by 2030, everybody's gonna know more about ETs and metaphysics. We're gonna need metaphysical schools at
Well, that's what
2030.
I've been talking. Oh, thank you for saying that. That's what I've been speaking about for the longest. Intuitively, I've been feeling we have to bring back the mystery schools because the alpha and these beta generation kids, right? The Pluto Aquarius kids, they are coming in and they're fully like third eye, everything open and awakened. And the school system, the Rockefeller brainwashing school system, it's like a prison for them. They cannot exist in it. And that's why you're seeing all these things online where you got teachers saying, oh, these kids nowadays are terrible and this and that. It's like, no, the system, the reality, the schools are outdated and it needs to change, right? We should learn in a cipher. We should really learn about science. We should learn about astral projection, astral traveling, numerology, gematria, soul contracts, human design, tarot,
Mm-hmm.
astrology. That is
Mm-hmm.
how, we should be sun gazing with these kids. They should be outside between, right? The circadian rhythms of the sun, 12 and 3. They shouldn't be in a school system that's like a prison and a hospital. So
Right.
people have to have real spiritual discernment and really understand that these shifts are already here. They're coming, but we have to put in the work so that we can really ascend to the new earth. So tell people, what do you recommend? Like Debbie Solaris, when she was on here, she was saying we should at least be meditating 30 minutes to an hour a day. Some people, I try to tell them they can't like sit still and meditate, but meditation could be right, hiking, walking, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you sensing in the spiritual realm and your practice? Like, what do you like to tell your clients and people to do?
Now, I definitely agree with the meditating, but now let's rephrase it from saying meditation because people feel like, oh, you need to be still, and you just
Yeah.
sit and crisscross.
Because some people can't do
Really,
that, and they're like, "Am I bad or am I wrong?" Right?
right? Because they're trying to force something. Meanwhile, meditating could be easily just you sitting here and in traversing your imagination,
Mm,
visiting what happened yesterday,
yeah,
visiting what happened a week ago. That is meditating. You're sitting down. Meditating is just being in your inner mind verse. And you'll notice at sometimes some of y'all, you really have to sit down and be like, I need an hour at the end of the day to like go over everything. And you're not sitting there like this. You're just like this.
yeah,
Right? You just sitting down chilling. That's meditating. You guys definitely need to be. You guys need to get that to yourself because then you can start to question certain emotions. Like you'll sit there and be still, and you're like, oh, I had this emotion yesterday, but why? And because you're still, then you're like, oh, because of da. But then why? Da-da-da. You start to get to the core of everything. You start to question reality. Now, I actually want
yeah.
to go back to what you were saying about with schools
Oh yeah, yeah.
because that is true too. But what's interesting is that the people are forcing this growth because now the system can't. The system is trying to keep this lid on the jar of like lower consciousness. You know how they do.
I
So it's
know.
like, okay, let's keep this in. But now people are like, this school system ain't it. And they're claiming stuff. And now the people are like, shoot, like we can't keep them in these school systems no more. What's up? What are we going to do? Now they fight and they run on the streets. Okay, we could do this. Let's try this. Let's try that. And they can't. So the people are forcing this. And now the new people that are coming in, the star seeds were placed on the ground on purpose and growing
Right.
up on purpose. So then
Yeah.
they get to an age, say maybe like 2 years from now, that little girl that was seeing spirits is now like she's a principal or something. And she's like, yep, I was being trained for this, right? Now I'm here to teach people about this, and I had this insight so I could be the principal here. So the Starseeds are seeing they bring prepared to replace the old system, but they get kind of confused because they're like, I need to do it right now. I need to get things, but really they're being prepped. That's actually this video I was going to post tomorrow talking about the preparation. Because while the old system is falling, the new system is already being built in play. By the time the old system is done and people are like, oh, well, what are we going to do? Then the new Starseeds are like, oh, yep, okay, here's the new system.
Slides on in.
Yep, it slides in. Here's this, here's that. And they're like, damn, like y'all was getting ready from before. Yeah, like we've been establishing this.
I love that, man, and you're so brilliant with that, and it's so true. And you know, I don't know, like I don't get that human beings don't do that, right? That sitting still, like introspection. And you know, for us as Virgos, like introspection is like you just said the other day, like earlier, right? It's just Tuesday, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
introspection is like. But I will tell people, right, and for you guys watching, it is a little bit more challenging for the fire and air signs, the sun signs, right? Or even a fire and air moon, because they're action orientated, they're outgoing, they're initiating. Earth and water, right? Which, you know, you have a lot of, and I have, right? There's a Scorpio rising, but you have the water moon and earth sun and earth rising. And I've got the earth moon, I'm a Cap moon, Virgo sun, and Scorpio rising. But introspection is kind of like our food, our medicine. And so I try to hold space because I watch people and I see where they like move in life and they're kind of struggling. And I may say something to them, but they're less like, it's like almost like they can't put it in their computer and download it. And I'm like, yeah, that's hard for you to do, but it's not anything for us to have spiritual arrogance on or judge. It's just helping them find the way. So like a fire sign may need to meditate by movement or candlelight or actual fire, right? Or like doing something physical. The air signs, they may need to communicate and do a lot of self-talk or a lot of writing and journaling to get in that meditative state. So this is why you want to learn the birth chart and your planet, you guys. It is literally the map of your life and the remembrance of your soul, right? As soon as I saw your chart and I saw your Jupiter in Cancer in the 11th house, I was like, oh man, he is here to not only be that guru shaman and tap into the ETs and aliens, but then to teach that to groups and organizations and the collective over the internet. It's in your chart and you're having your Jupiter return. So it's funny when you said you're working on developing these courses. This is the year to launch them, my brother. They're going to take off. You know what I mean? They're going to take off because you're having your Jupiter return.
I feel it, man.
I know you do. And see, and this is what I want the collective to know, right? To June 30th, 2026, Jupiter's in Cancer, where it's exalted. As the young kids like to say, it's not necessarily like getting a bag. It's more about coming home to your emotional intelligence, feeling safe and secure in your own physical container, your body, where you got to get the good type of water, you know, more high vibrational spring water, alkaline, but also you've got to ground in nature. Talk to the trees. Tell us about the trees, because I know you connect with fairies, and tell people about how the trees are really these sentient beings. What do you see in the astral plane with the trees and fairies and elementals?
Ooh, my home dogs, the fairies. Whoo,
So
those guys, they're hilarious and they play around too much sometimes. Like I started to say, you know what? Okay, y'all can come up my room. And I like when they come up my room, especially the fire fairies. Those are my dogs. And I'll just light a candle. And I even set up these little things to be like their little houses, right? And I'm like, y'all can stay there. And you just see like red orbs flying around your head, flying around your room. And sometimes I'm sitting down and I'm talking with them, but they like to hide your stuff. They're funny. Like to hide my remote, and I'm like, y'all got to stop playing. I'm gonna stop inviting y'all in if y'all keep doing this.
So that's a real thing that happens to my wife and I all the time. Like we swear we had something in this one place,
Real
and then
thing.
you can't find it. That's like the fairies doing that.
Yeah, they love to do that, especially if you're connecting with them and then you start losing stuff like that and you find it somewhere random and you're like, you said you laugh, you're like, oh, like y'all playing with me. And then sometimes you can hear them laugh, they're like laughing in the corner. But when I first started getting in contact with fairies was when I started working with clients who were connected to the fairies.
Okay.
And I would have some, like, as soon as the client comes up, then of course the fairies come in, they start talking. And I'm like, wow, I haven't communicated with fairies before. That's when I started exploring communicating with them and their life and their history, things like that. Fairies are amazing. Consider them just spirits that take care of nature.
Okay.
And so when I started working with
Do they
uh
have a planetary origin, Cash, or
oh
no?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
Sirius for sure.
from Sirius.
Yeah, so I mean, fairies are kind of everywhere, but you'll notice there's a lot more fairy beings, which then you can mix in merfolk with that as well, and things like that. Those are Sirius for sure. So that's when I started going to Sirius too and interacting with them. And yeah, the merfolk are definitely family. Yeah.
That is really fascinating. So, what are your thoughts, and what have you sort of seen in the spiritual realms, and also do you tap into the Akashic records?
I do. I see the Akashic records just like a library. Like if I want to know something,
Right, like the
then
book
I'll
of life. Yeah,
either
yeah, like in the Bible. Yeah.
either just kind of like remote view there and just access it in my head,
Okay.
which is most of the time how I do it. Sometimes I'll go in the astral realm and it's like I'm in a big library and I'm just walking around. Sometimes I'll ask like the guy that's there, I'm like, I need information about this and that, and he gets it for me. So it's just about how I want to do it. But
Okay.
Akashic is like, I consider that one of the number one ways of getting insight, and nothing could taint it or destroy it. It really takes note of even this conversation. So everything is up in there.
That's powerful. So I kind of mentioned him earlier. I'm kind of curious while I have you here. You know, I got to ask you this. Do you feel that Elon Musk is like literally like from Mars, or more of a, negative entity or being? I mean, some people have theorized, and I've heard different spiritual people say that there's like three Elons, and this and that. Some people say, obviously he's just, total Illuminati darkness and this and that. But what are your thoughts, and have you sensed anything energetically, planetary or cosmic wise with him?
Yeah, I got a bunch of briefings on Mothership about him and Trump and what they was doing. And long story short, I started doing some missions there.
Mm.
And some of the people that are in here actually would go with me all the time.
Oh, dope.
And we started going
Thank
and
you
we
guys for
started
coming. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys.
bless. Yeah, definitely. And I remember we first went and we saw the cities that were there. They
Wow.
have they have a whole city which is also actually powered by an AI. And what I can say is that they have AI like AI running everything over there.
Yeah.
And so if any of you astral travel there, you'll definitely see them cities, and they're trying to colonize it just like how they did with Earth. So
Okay.
they want Mars to be like, the plan was to take over Earth and control it with the darker reptilian powers that be,
Right.
and then do the same thing on Mars. So they are, I will tell you this, they are paired with um negative, the negative alien agenda, we call it.
Yep.
So it's like domination, but Earth, it's they can't. But then it was like, okay, they're gonna try that on Mars. They're gonna book it to Mars, and then they're gonna take it over from as well the natives that are there. And I even talked to some of the natives there. They have like this red skin,
Mm.
they have big feet, big eyes, things
Mm.
like that, tall. Yeah, I talked to them, and it was like, the vibe was like talking to Native Americans. It was
Mm.
very fascinating, and the different beings that were there. It was like Orion. Orion's like the America of the Milky Way. Like you see
Really?
everybody there.
Okay. Okay.
So going to Mars was like that, and they're basically doing what they're doing on Earth times two.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
there is clones, yo. There
Oh,
is.
cl-
Um,
clones. Clones are real, and but see, this is the thing.
it's
When they
weird.
when they told us on television in the '90s that they cloned the first like pig, I knew back then when I was watching that, I was like, if they're showing us this, that means that they've probably already back then were cloning humans if they're willing to show that in the news and the media. Just like our movies. The movies are not fake, you guys. They're showing you the technologies that we really have, right? They
Word.
tell them about the underground cities. You can go from like New York to like California in like probably like 35 minutes, New York to London in like less than an hour, because they've got like these, what are they, like these like light rail like things that are like zoom, like the technology is like way beyond what we have here above above water, above, I don't know what you call it, on the top of the earth, right? I mean, do you see that when you travel in the realms?
Yeah, it's interesting because you give me perspective. Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, like that's like saying, did you like the CN Tower? Is that real? Yep, like is there. So to me, when I first saw those, which was last year, the
Okay.
technology they have, I wasn't too surprised because I'm like, they're really just they've been showing us in the damn movies.
Yeah.
So to even understand uh Men in Black and things like that. Of course, it's not exactly like the movies, it's more negative,
Yeah.
but they showed you what they got going on down there and what the partnerships they got, the branches of the government.
Yeah.
Everything you said there is true. The clones is weird. I had to get a briefing about that and like what cloning looked like in the galaxy. Humans are just repeating old history that the ETs have learned and have been through. So they're watching Earth and they're like, "Oh, we remember that. We remember when we was fighting over skin color. We remember when we was fighting
Okay.
over
This
robots and stuff
cloning
like that."
technology is really ancient, isn't it?
Well, yeah, yo, even that new technology we got there is ancient to them. They're like, we're beyond all of that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how the ET see it. They're like, yeah, we're just watching y'all repeat history in this little experiment. But yeah, that technology they got is very, I want to say it's mind-boggling, but I want to rephrase. It's just interesting to see. Cloning is. I'll go back to that real quick. It's weird. It's offsetting because the people when I got briefings about that, because I'd ask them like, okay, well then are the people real or like do they have their own soul?
Right,
What
right.
is
I get
about that?
confused. Like, how do you explain it? Because, like, for example, like when Kanye disappeared and came back and then married that woman, I was like, that's not even him. It didn't even look like him. And then, before he's rhyming about Jesus, then he comes back and he's like all demonic. I was like, that's not him. So, like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's,
As you can see, it's still weird. It weirds me out
I
because
know.
it's true ting, and you could see it in their eyes. When I saw Andrew Tate's clone, oh, it was so weird. You could tell, like when you look at it, you could tell right away. But others were like, is he joking or like why is he acting like that? Or
So, wait. Okay, so that's interesting.
yeah,
Do you think that happened where he was cloned when they took him away and he went to jail for a little bit?
I'm gonna tell you. So this is
Okay.
like the briefing they gave me about clones. It's that some of these well-known people they make clones. They have these clones down in the basement, and then if they want to go do something, they want to go on vacation, they'll send their clone out to go do that audition or that like to go on stage and do whatever. And then when they come back, people are like, "Wait, why was your energy different then?" It's because they had the
Mm,
clone do it. Some of them it's a little darker, like Katy Perry. She warned everybody with that eye twitching thing. She put it in her music video, like when
yeah.
my eye twitch, I'm being cloned. And then her eye twitched. So what happened is some of these higher ups,
Yeah.
what they'll do, what I can see if they'll get in trouble
Yeah.
is they say if you don't do what we say, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, we're gonna put your clone, replace you, and then keep you here until you get your joint in order and do what you're supposed to do. So there's a
Mm,
yin and yang thing where it's like voluntary and involuntary,
okay.
and
Okay.
the whole point is to keep the system going.
Well, see, and that's what I want people to really understand is that unfortunately, right, I dibbled and dabbled. I was a professional actor, so I did television and film, and I'm an, MC and have a couple albums. But for me, no one offered it to me, but I was never willing to sell out my soul. And
Mhm.
so I think that's something where you see people, right? And I've worked with a lot of these people, and you see the shift or the change. And people, there are no accidents, right? Nobody gets big and famous and success anymore
Right,
without being in the game, being part of the initiated or Illuminati or whatever you want to call it, right?
right.
So there, like nobody slips through. I want you guys to know the same thing with the president. Nobody sneaks in. Like, I love that sometimes the collective people can be a little spiritually naive because there are no accidents, you guys.
Hmm.
Even from the weather, all this stuff, there are no accidents. Just know that, right? Certain things we can't say. But I want you to say about this, and then I want to take a couple more questions in the chat. What have you seen? What's going on in the North Pole? What's beyond the ice wall? Are there like another 5 or 7 continents? Are there the woolly mammoths, the different beings? Like what's going on?
if y'all see the flat Earth map, that map is true, but it's not based off of the Earth being flat. It's based off of inner Earth. Because when you try and map the inner Earth,
Yeah.
and you to map it best, you make the Earth flat, and then you could see, like, imagine it's like you go here, and then you see the tropics, and then you keep going, and then it's far away from the inner sun, so then it's like another ice wall, and then you go, and then tropics, and then another ice wall, right? So when you look at the flat Earth map, you could see they're just mapping the inner Earth. But yeah, that is true. There's beings that live in there, and if you go, you fly down there. Sometimes they may restrict you if you're not ready, but you see a lot of high vibrational beings and a lot of other people like Aztecs that were like, yeah, we just bounced off the surface and just went down here. It's very cool to see, because then you're like, damn, y'all really did it like that? How come no one's talking about this?
Well, have you seen those videos or clips where people were saying that they literally walked from like India to Mexico?
Yes.
And I was like, but see, and I heard this back in the days where um, someone was like walking in Connecticut, because you guys know that, right? We have these portals and vortexes and all these things on Earth, right? But someone was like walking in Connecticut, and then they were like in Seattle,
Mm.
like after hours. So, like, how do you explain that to like people that like think me and you are just crazy talking right now? Like, how do you
Right.
explain that to them?
Simply, they're just portals.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of vortexes on the planet where energy moves back and forth, and some people end up getting trapped. Bermuda Triangle, they talk about that. It's just like that's a pretty common one,
Yeah.
but there's so many, and sometimes you won't be able to go near them, especially like if you try to go to uh government bases,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
maybe you try to go to the moon without permission. There's psychic soldiers, people call them,
Okay.
where they'll stop you, or
I heard
sometimes,
they have that at the North Pole. Like, like they will that they'll project, like kick you out if you're trying to remote view.
yeah, they'll kick you out, and then they'll try and remote view you and see who has the power to even do this. So
Mm,
that has happened, but of course, if one thing I noticed actually is if you are a star seed, you will have, when you finish training and you get more mature and in order, you'll get permission to go to places like inside the moon, or to use black holes and things like that. But if you try when you're not ready, they gonna stop you. Or if you are given a mission to go into bases, for example, you are going to be, there's no way these soldiers or the government could come and take you out and stuff like that, because if they hurt a GFL agent, they can only slow down a GFL agent, but if they try and take you out, it's going to cause problems with the GFL, and they don't want problems with the GFL.
okay, that's good to know. So you
So you
keep
guys don't got to
referring.
worry about being hurt or nothing like that. Maybe they'll try and slow you down and try and maybe injure you a little bit, bruise you up, but they can never take you out.
They can't
They
kill
are
you.
scared
Okay.
of that.
Okay. So honey, we'll get to the chat in a second. I got one more question because you keep mentioning the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's so many theories. We live in a Saturnian matrix bubble. Some people say the reincarnation loop is kind of like this Saturn moon loop.
Right.
Was the moon Is the moon a ship? Because some ancients talk about the time before the moon was ever here in this earthly plane or galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
What did you sense, or what do you feel about the moon? And then what do you think about this reincarnation loop that we're in, but some people saying is now ended? And I don't know, what you share and tell me your thoughts.
The moon used to be used by negative entities to push certain energy on the planet and keep people trapped in it.
Yeah.
So because the moon is a spaceship, but it also is an energy emitter. So
Yes.
it's meant to help and assist the planet in the shift, and to monitor the Earth and what's happening in this arm of the galaxy, right? So it has a multi-purpose, but it still has an energy to help us.
Okay.
But at one point, it was used as an energy emitter to not help us, to
Mm,
actually keep souls coming. So imagine now it's like pushing light energies. Full moon come, bringing a certain shift to help people, and then people use that moon energy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's real thing. But then imagine the opposite when it was used way back. It was
Yeah.
like, if we push darker energies, it's going to keep people trapped in lower consciousness. Then
Mm,
they do negative things, and then they have to keep incarnating, because then they have to learn this lesson. They
right.
got
Right.
to come back, and they're going to have to fix whatever is happening. This is why Earth became like a Earth school, not just
Yeah.
because you forget and have to learn, but because many souls that were here were were very young and were stuck here, and then they go up and they're like, can I incarnate somewhere else? No, you have to keep going because you have to learn this lesson, this and that. So then people are like, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Okay, technically you could say that, but really it's just more you got to learn your lessons, you got to keep coming.
Wow. Yeah. I resonate with that. That's really powerful because, you know, you hear so many theories, even when people pass away, oh, go to the light and this and that and all the stuff. There's just so many schools of thoughts. And I was just kind of curious, like what you see and how you, perceive it and stuff,
Helping people transition into the light is where, if you guys watch the movie Soul, it's like that. It's like you go to the soul plane, you go to 5D, and then it's like, okay, let's go over what you did in your incarnation. Okay, here's what you got to do next. Or if you're not learning, here's the next mission we need you to go on in the physical realm or in the astral realm and stuff like that. So I've noticed that with when it comes to like the light and things like that, some of you are like psychics in here and you've helped spirits shift into the next plane. Some spirits are like they stay here because they're like, I'm afraid to move on, I'm
Mm,
attached here. But a lot of them, once they move on, then they watch Earth from outside the
yes.
matrix. So it's like this physical body's gone, now they're like, damn, I'm a ghost. Then the ancestors are like, here, come through the portal, we're gonna lead you to the soul plane. Excuse me, confirmation. Woo.
Yeah.
So that is going to that is a true thing. And some people say don't go into the light. I'm still studying that part because I've seen the situations where beings or people that have died are led somewhere else. And see, that is kind of confusing to me still. But going on and moving through the light to go back to the soul plane is for real, for real.
Well, some ancients say, and I know this is something in the Vedic and Indian philosophies, right? That when you're passing away here, you should be sitting up. So your crown chakra, you shouldn't be laying down in the bed so that your
Mm.
soul can travel out of the crown,
Mhm.
when you,
I actually heard that too. That's interesting you say that. I heard that you shouldn't die where you get like shot in the head or something like that because then it limits the transition. Now I got a briefing about that.
mm,
Yes and no.
okay.
So yes, it could prevent the smooth transition.
You're talking about specifically being shot in the head.
Yeah, like shot in the head or like head cut off or something like that, where it's like you can't, like they talk about sitting up and you going out.
Okay.
So yes and no. Yes, because it could stop a smooth transition out. It's like you die, and if you're sitting down like this, then you easily just come out and then do what you got to do.
Okay.
No, in a way of like when you die, even if it's suddenly, you're still gonna hop out your body, but you're
Yeah.
just gonna be like, oh shoot, like what happened? And then it causes a kind of like it causes things to kind of be not as smooth. So yeah, that's the truth.
Wow. All right, let's take a couple more questions. I don't want to keep you here forever, but I know people got some great questions for you. So let's see what they're saying.
Okay. So someone said here they have psychic soldiers as well, for sure.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I have noticed that in like some areas. Sometimes ETs are even if you go to like uh not Phoenix, Sedona,
Sedona,
that's
yeah.
that's a spaceport. ETs are coming in
I
and out of
saw
there
blue beings in Sedona.
because they be coming in and out of there like crazy. I was there and I'm like, whoa, this is a whole spaceport. And then some of the people I talked to that were there are like, yeah, this is a Wednesday evening. Like this is how it goes
Yeah,
around
no,
here.
it's my wife and I mean, oh my God, yeah, that's a whole so it's wild. So go ahead. What else we got here?
Thank you. There is an ice wall, even if it's not flat Earth. People don't realize that. Yes, it's true. And
And we have the firmament, right? I mean, that's the thing, the water above and water below.
I'm actually gonna say this as well when it comes to the firmament.
Yeah.
It is yes and no,
Okay.
because there is something. I realized it was a shield, and this is what the Arcturians made. So they made this like shield in which it warns if beings who's coming in and out. It's almost like it's like a quarantine because Earth was under quarantine for a while.
Okay.
Of like these beings, you can't play around with them. Just leave it as it is. They need to evolve. That's what was happening, and many people called it the firmament. And I will say it is kind of like what people say the water above and water below. I like to use that as like an analogy because the firmament is kind of like, if you want to say water,
Yeah.
but it's just more of a shield. And now that that's been taken off, that firmament is gone.
Well,
And
that's why they
now
have, what is it, Project Rocket Ship or Mockingbird? Like they haven't they've never left this atmosphere, right? They've never like they're not going to outer space
the
like
footage they show
oh,
is
it's all fake. Yeah, I mean,
is fake, but some of them do go to space. They just don't. They're not telling you what's actually going on. Like that stuff with Katy Perry and all them
oh,
thing there where
that
they
was
went up. Like I don't know if any of y'all could see it or feel it, but you could tell they were in like a spinning like machine that like makes it zero gravity. You
yeah,
could tell. And
yeah.
so what happened though is these people, I don't know about them, but there's many others who actually go to space, but then what they show is not real, because if they do show what's actually out there, ETs are everywhere, and space is not. Space is very spiritual. It's not just blackness and whatever. It's very spiritual. So that's the truth right there for sure.
Okay. All right. You take another question.
Ooh,
We
that's
got any
gonna be.
fellow Virgos here tonight? You guys can share, your sign and where you're from or whatever. But thank you for everybody coming and stuff. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Subscribe to my homeboy.
Thank you.
GL said, "Will governments be successful with blocking or dimming the sun?" No, I actually asked some ETs about that, and they're like, no, like the only way they can try and block the sun or they can't make a fake sun, but what they're gonna try to do is make more clouds to try and block
Well,
it. But
I mean, they're spraying like crazy, and hopefully RFK. I don't even know if he really, is trying. That he seems like he's trying, but I mean, that's why they spray. I
yeah,
mean, you have those. We can't really say the word, but we have those magical puffy things, right?
yes,
So
and that is part of blocking the sun as well, spraying chemicals to halt people as well as the fluoride stuff. You already know how they do
yeah,
every
because
way
we're
they
getting
can.
right. Because right now with the X class and M class solar flares, like since 2020, we've had the highest in recorded history, and it's literally affecting the DNA of Earth, of Mother Earth, Gaia, and also us. Right? We're
And them
elevated.
solar flares are
Yeah.
really impacting everyone and everything. Even technology is starting to show like, damn, like these things affect everything. So go back to the question of, are they going to be successful? No. Again, it's like trying to keep a lid on the jar as long as possible. They're trying to slow it down just so they can stay in power.
Trying
But
to delay the awakening,
yeah, they're trying to delay it. But at the end of the day, the turtle's still gonna. You could make it a turtle, a rabbit. It's still gonna win the race.
I love that. I love that. All right, let's see. You want to get another good question?
Ooh, someone said, I'm doing a fruit fast and I feel real crazy right now. I feel like there's a battle happening in my body. I definitely recommend fasting for y'all. For y'all asking about fasting,
Fasting is the best. Oh my God.
definitely do it. I actually sometimes get forced to fast. My body's like, don't eat nothing, especially if I'm doing a lot of clients and doing a lot of divinations.
Yeah.
I don't eat. I just have tea, like
Yeah.
blue lotus tea with some lemon.
Yeah.
I'm good with that for hours.
Yeah.
And then my body's like, it gives me the green light. Now you can eat. Just don't eat that, but you can eat this.
And people need to remember, right? Fruit is the H3O. And so, we need to have more fruits. We're really, some will say frutivores or omnivores, but we're definitely not carnivores, right? Just look at our teeth. You can't like walk up, and most of the animals, right? They don't eat meat either. So just pay attention. But, I think that that's important because right now, Cash, we got the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node, which is, kind of your placements, and it's the health axis. And so we not only need to focus you guys on our spiritual discipline and practice compassion, empathy, grace, and mercy for yourself first, right? They tell you on the airplane, put on your mask first, then outwardly to others and loved
Mhm.
ones. But also, we have got to retire from the negative self-talk. As Virgos, this is tough for us, right? Stop being so self-critical and overly critical of others and nitpicky. But Virgo rules the gut, the lower intestine, right? The digestive system. We've got to purify, you guys. Pluto and Aquarius, that's virus. It's time for parasite cleanses. Most indigenous cultures do parasite cleanses. Most Americans, Canadians have never done one in their lives. This is the time. we've got to focus on our health because guess what? And I know you probably have picked up on this. They are planning another plan, demic type thing or whatever. So we've got to
Mhm.
health, okay?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's true. Try it anyway. They're trying they got all their Pokemon cards out and they trying to
Yeah,
whip
they're
out
throwing
any
the kitchen
Pokemon they
sink at
can.
us.
Yeah, let's hit about how about let's get this one out. Oh, that didn't work. Let's get this one out. That didn't work. They just trying everything they can. Someone asked here, how can you ease into it? Ease
Mm,
into fasting. Um, for me, it was a slow shift. Like even right now, I'm fasting. So
yeah,
what I would do is I would take a break between meals, and at first I started listening to my body. I was
yeah.
like, when do you want to eat? And if there was times when I didn't want to eat, then I wouldn't. And it was like my body just naturally wanted to fast. And then my cells could rejuvenate.
Yes.
Um, I fast before bed. Like at a certain time, I don't eat because then I'm
Well,
going to
you should
astral.
never eat after the sun is set. That's number one. Winter or
Okay.
summer. You should never eat after the sun is set.
I like that.
Yeah.
So for many of you astral travelers, you'll notice if you eat before bed, especially heavy, you won't be able to astral travel as easily. It's going to be
Ah,
harder. You'll be
that's deep.
heavier. So I always fast. Like I just have tea before bed.
Okay.
Um,
Me
some
too.
of
I drink tea before bed.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so some of y'all will be like, you know what? I just want I'm gonna have a smoothie, and then you can feel your stomach kind of roaring of it. Give it a good time, give it a good hour or two. Then you notice once you get over that roaring, it's almost like you good. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, I'm fine now. But then later on, then your body's like, okay, now it's actually time to eat. And then you do so. So you'll notice you give yourself some gaps. Try maybe just smoothies or just drinks. And you do that. And then slowly your body is now adjusting to that. And some of the parasites that your body was feeding on was expecting to get this food at 6 o'clock every day to eat meat. Then you stop eating meat at 6 o'clock. Now those parasites starting to die, but they're crying, please, please, more meat, more meat. So
More
you have to
sugar, more
starve
meat.
it.
Exactly. You gotta stop that stuff, you guys.
And
For
then all of a
real.
sudden your body won't want it anymore. You look at that food and you're like, I can't. And you try
Yeah.
and your body's like, irks.
I love it. Oh my God. So wait, I want to give you a perfect tip. I don't know if you've heard about this or if the audience, you guys, every month when the moon is in transit and it comes back for us, Virgo, to your natal sun sign, it's the moon is in a sign in the house for 2.5 days, 60 hours. That is the time to do a fast, an intermittent fast, because you're reactivating your body on the cellular level. So the moon is in Sagittarius today. We've got the full moon coming on the 11th. You can charge your crystals out, your moon water, but Sagittarius sun signs, right? So what you would do, no drugs, no sex, no alcohol, no meat, no cursing, right? Eat smoothies, like you were saying, fruit, juices, maybe some veggies, very light, or try to go and just do water or even the master cleanse, right? Organic maple syrup,
Mhm.
lemon juice, distilled water, and cayenne pepper. If you can do that even for 48 hours or the full 60, you will get like a physical and spiritual reset in your body every month. When the moon in transit comes back to your natal sun sign, that's when you do it. And you will feel supercharged every month. I promise you.
I'm gonna take that.
Yes, man. It's
If
so
any of y'all can do that, you're going to notice a big shift in your vibration. Yes, I know vibration isn't just food, you're way more than that, but it is something that can help you if you eat right and you do that fasting, you let your body actually heal itself. Man, you're going to notice a big shift in your vibration. You know, when I first fasted,
mhm.
I fasted for like a day and my body was vibrating with energy. I was like, "Whoa, my body feels so light and it's vibrating." Then when I ate, then my vibration lowered. You know, actually, some of my seizures I used to have,
Okay.
I actually had to have meat because my vibration was actually too high. It was
Wow.
like it was so much. My body was vibrating, and I was craving chicken. And I was like, I don't even eat chicken like that too
Yeah.
much. So I had it, and then I felt my energy go. It was like it
So
normalized.
that's fascinating. So you're saying the meat, because we know it's a denser, lower vibrational food. So when you eat the meat, it literally brings the vibration down.
Yes.
Wow.
So I can't eat meat if I'm gonna do divinations and stuff like that because my energy goes low. If I'm trying to be in a higher vibe, I feel my body get dense. I actually had to ask some ETs about this. I'm like, do y'all eat meat? Like, especially the Pleiadians, y'all eat meat? Some of them were like, a lot of them were like, no, we don't do that. But some of them, like a few of the Pleiadians, like some of the Taigedans, are like, yeah, we still eat meat, but when you do eat meat, you need to accept that your vibration lower. So it's the one girl was telling me, she goes, you can eat meat, but it's gonna slow down the ascension process just a little bit. And the
Wow.
Taigedans, some of them, they accepted that, but the
Okay.
other ones were like, no. So I guess it's just based off of culture.
Okay.
But yeah, eating meat's gonna really, you're gonna feel your body get a little denser.
Wow. Oh man, I listen. We could talk forever, but don't worry, you guys.
Okay.
King Cassius will return and come back. I want you to explain to the audience how they can reach you and book readings with you. And again, just explain the different type of services because people hear all this and it could be a little spiritually overwhelming. So
Mm-hmm.
I want you to simplify it for them. Take your time and let them know the best ways to reach you and how they can work with you because you know this this spiritual journey and this ascension, sometimes people tap into gifts and they don't know what to do. They're like, oh my God, like it's overwhelming. And you've got the gifts and the insight to guide them. And I will tell everybody too, you should definitely book a birth chart reading because the map of your life is like when I help you align with your soul's purpose and your planets, it's a game changer. But Cassius, what King Cash can do and help you with the ascension and spiritually, share what you can do with them, my brother.
Appreciate it. If you guys want to have a one-on-one with me, you guys click the link in my bio on Instagram or TikTok. You could check out everything right there. The server is also in that link, and that's where we have Starseed Family, where everybody there is a Starseed or an intuitive, and we have our talks all the time. You guys could check that out. On my YouTube, we're doing some more YouTube astro vlogs and things like that. So
Oh,
you guys
good.
should check me out there. I'm King Cash on everything. My TikTok is the King Cassius,
Okay.
but Instagram is kind of like my home base, and I go live all the time on TikTok. So you guys could check me out there.
Do you ever do
Server
lives on YouTube or you just go live on TikTok, but IG is the homepage, like the main? So you're kind of
Yeah, so Instagram is where it's kind of like the main hub, but
okay.
I go live on TikTok all the time. So you
Okay.
guys can check me there. And then as well as I'm gonna have that course coming up in a little while when it's divine timing. But I
Yeah.
think some of y'all will really like that course. Check us out. We do readings in there all the time, every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, so you guys can get some free divinations there as well. But
Wow.
I am an open book. If y'all want to contact me, I'll be here.
I love that. And his information and bios in the description, you guys. Please check it out. Man, I
This
don't
was
even
really fun. Thank you for inviting me.
this was so much fun, my brother. And it's so great because, you know, what we are building, right, in the Ascension Institute with Al and I mean, I don't know, we could just go through all the names, but just everybody. And you guys can go tell them, right? It's ascensioninstitute.org, I believe, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And you guys can join. We do have a membership there for $5, but we are part of the founding team. King Cassius and I, and with El Saramaga and so many other beautiful healers and light workers. Um, it's it's fascinating and it's impressive, and you know each person is on a mission for ascension. And the Ascension Institute is about giving back to Gaia Mother Earth and about giving back to the collective and helping people and holding space for people. So, both of us are a part of it. And it's something I want you guys to check out, but definitely follow this young brother, my Virgo brother. Let me tell you, I love it, man. So, real quick, man, I was going to say before we end it, how does it feel? Because your chart is like Michael Jackson's in reverse. He was the Pisces rising.
I'm dead.
Yep, I'm telling you, brother. He was the Pisces rising with the Pisces moon and the Virgo sun in the seventh, and his Virgo sun is conjunct Pluto, which is
Okay.
why Dad was like the pain and trauma, but also the thing that pushed him to be the king of pop, right? So
Mhm.
number one, are you conscious of the mental part of being the Virgo. The Virgo is the most popular sun sign, but it's not an easy life. Like we I love being a Virgo, but it's not easy, right?
I was built for this, man. I was born for my soul is like we've been through this so many times.
Yeah,
We just doing it one more time. I needed so many of these things to happen to remind me,
yeah,
growing up in this town and the school I went to, stuff like that. It was very hard and very lonely
yeah.
in my experience, but it was almost like okay, so like being the only black person as well as being a star seed and intuitive and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it was a lot. But high school at the end, I actually like it was funny because at the end of high school I became really popular. And so
Mm.
it was like I in high school I learned how to socially conquer it. Every day I kept saying I'm a lion, I'm a lion. I'm gonna do this. Even if I got to do it alone, I'm gonna do it. And I didn't even know what I was saying. I didn't even know I was a lion when Starseed. Then I'm like, I'm a lion though. I don't know how. I just am. And I kept going. And then the end of high school kind of showed me what I was capable of.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, now I want to do this globally. And
Yeah.
so it was like my little earth there. And
Yeah.
then now I'm on that journey in this. So definitely the beginning, I'm really glad I had a rough time at the beginning because
Yes.
it built me super strong and got me to where I'm at now. Now that strength that the divine gave me, I'm able to do exactly what the divine wants me to do. So I'm incredibly grateful. It's definitely not easy. I need to write a book about that joint,
Yeah.
but I'm very grateful for it.
I love that, man. And with that Pisces moon, you're going to be always very sensitive to energies. And, I tell people with Pisces moon, my mother had one, when you're out and about, you're always going to be so, vibrating so high. But you have to make sure when you return back home that you kind of cut the cords and transmute out the energy. And if you're
Mhm.
not going back out, not just washing your hands and face, but put on your house clothes, change your clothing, because you're bringing in the sensitivities and emotions of the people you're around when you're out in the public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you literally, Pisces moons have to do that and protect themselves because, like, you're just like this battery. And that's the thing. We also eat less when we're out in the sun more because we are batteries and we get charged by the electromagnetic energy of the sun. It, it's,
It's so funny you say this. And my one guide was like, that's just a Tuesday. Like, I always do that. I need to, like, showering is my decontamination. After a client, I wash my face. I
yeah,
have to change my clothes after going out, things like that. These are
yeah.
things that
It's
us
spiritual hygiene, right?
Yes, and these are things as empaths and as people who are sensitive to energy, like you know exactly. We're like, yeah, this is stuff that we have to do, and
Yeah.
to see some. I think what the only thing that kind of worries me is when I see starseeds that are sensitive as us, but they don't have the spiritual hygiene understanding. That's
Right.
why I'm like, oh shoot, like that's why I really want to be there for my people because I'm like, I want to take care of all y'all, make sure you guys are good. But that is something that I would love for people to discuss more is that spiritual hygiene because they feel it, but some of them aren't aware and they don't fully know what to do about that.
You're right. That's powerful, my brother. Well, it's a great way to end. And yes, you're always welcome. We got to have you back on. And I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot more together in the future with Ascension and just, both of our platforms. I appreciate it. And you guys, thank you for coming. Now, do me a favor. What we shared today, you've got to share this. Put it on your X, your Twitter, put it on your Facebook, your LinkedIn, but share it with people because you don't know, even your friend that you think is like an NPC or caught up in the matrix, they may hear one thing that King Cassius says, or one thing that I said that just like boom, gets them spiritually hungry and curious. So please, I encourage you to share this and come back when we're done. Leave a comment. It helps the show grow an algorithm and follow King Cassius everywhere, IG, TikTok, YouTube. Please, you guys like and subscribe to my channel, Biggie Astrology. Same thing on the social medias. But this was a very important, fun, informative, and powerful conversation, my brother. So I'm so glad and honored to have you on my show. So
This
Thank
was
you.
great. I can't wait to come back. You're awesome to have a conversation with. So we know we're about to do this again. And thank
Definitely.
you all for coming as well. If some of you are my followers and my family, definitely hit up Eric. He's amazing with astrology. I'm like, some of the stuff he's saying sometimes it sounds like another language, but he's good at it, man. So definitely hit him up. Okay. And I can't wait to do some more of this with you.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching episode 348 of my Knowledge is Love.
Damn.
Yeah, you know that's that Cap Moon and Virgo Sun. I just put in work, man.
Damn. Yeah, you sure did.
Listen, I can't help it. You know, and just so you know, I had to close with this. As us being Virgos, you know who else was a Virgo? Ascended Master Yeshua.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Not a Capricorn. He was a Cap rising, Virgo Sun in the 9th house in planetary joy, Pisces Moon in the 3rd house, planetary joy, just like you. Pisces Moon, Virgo Sun, just like you, my brother. There you go.
I'm
Right.
damn, you left me with something hot.
I had to
Okay,
leave you with a
bless.
nugget. That's a little mic drop for you.
Thank you so much, Eric. I love
You're
you.
welcome. All right, you guys, have a good one and enjoy the Sagittarius full moon. Put your crystals and moon water out tomorrow night because the moon is at 3:44 a.m. Eastern.